All right, Charlie Vann here with LFA Featherweight and Fortis MMA fighter Elijah Johns. Elijah, thank you very much for taking your time here today. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Pleasure to be on here. Thanks for having me, Charlie.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Well, I see you're chilling in a sauna, so you're definitely cutting weight right now.
Yes, sir.
How's that
Yes,
going?
sir.
You're about a week out from your fight. How's just everything been coming together for you, man?
Yeah. Cutting weight never is an easy task, but as I've gotten older and taken the advice of my brother, I've gotten smarter about it. So I've kind of been gradually chipping off some pounds. COVID didn't help because I was a little bit heavier in the off season than usual. So it's going good. I'm in good spirits. I got about 12-ish, 13-ish to go. So, I'm keeping good spirits.
How soon when do you start that weight cutting process?
Yeah, I would say about three weeks. I got this fight on about 4 weeks notice. So about 3 weeks, I started dialing in, drinking a gallon of water a day, and just keeping track of my calories. And I have a Fit Meals Prep is my food program, so they keep it really easy for me. It's the same one a lot of those sports fighters use, and they're very beneficial.
Yeah, I see a lot of those meals. Your teammate Jeff Neal posts a lot on his Instagram. A lot of them look really, really tasty. I remember Sean Shirk many years ago talked about dieting and weight cutting and how he doesn't really eat for taste. It's just obviously that fuel, that diet to get his body where he needs to for fight prep. But those fit meals, I mean, they seem really delicious. They look delicious. I mean, so talk about partnering with them and how they've been beneficial to your fight camps.
Their food is incredible, man. Like, you get enchiladas. There's some chicken Alfredo, some brisket tacos. Like, if I just went by the name, people would be like, "Are you sure you're on a diet? Like, you're eating this stuff and you say you're dieting?" It's their portion size. So you look at most of meal preps, their portions are so large, like it's heavy, and their stuff is light. They keep it under 400 calories. It's got the good nutrients. It's got a good amount of fiber to keep you full, a good amount of protein. And it's just delicious at the same time. Their sauces are not very fattening, and there's just like no sugar to any other meals. So I love them. I really don't even I feel like it's a cheat diet in my opinion.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's definitely good for the mind, when you're getting to those final couple weeks of cutting. Well, let's talk about the fight. You're returning back to LFA against Luke Foltersack in Kansas. So you're going back
Yep.
to your home state. Newton's 25 miles outside of Wichita?
Yeah, give or take about 20, 25 miles. Yeah.
So does this
Yeah.
feel like a hometown fight for you? I mean, I know you've been fighting for quite some time here in Dallas, but does it feel kind of like you will have that hometown advantage going in?
You're right on the money. It really does feel like I'm going home. The last time I was here, the last time I was in the Hartman Arena was for a state tournament, which I did not place at. The last time my brother was there, he won a state championship. And it's just a lot of memories, man. We were 4-time state qualifiers. Our team had a good bond, and it's going to bring back a lot of those memories. I'm not to get too, morbid or anything, but our old coach, JJ Thaw, had passed away, and this was actually the last time he had coached both me and my brother. So it's going to be an honor to dedicate the win to him and to just, know that he's out there watching me still up there. And it's special to me, My dad saw the card in summertime and was kind of just speaking into existence. Like, how cool would it be if you got to fight at the Hartman Arena with all your family there to be able to watch? I mean, they're not allowing fans, but they can still watch, and just the whole experience is going to be pretty surreal for me, I think.
Well, you mentioned right there about no fans. I know most of the LFA cards, which have been in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, had no fans, but I wasn't sure how Kansas is approaching. So there will be no fans. How's that? How are you feeling about that? I know quite a bit of your teammates have already had fights in front of no crowd. So does that take any extra pressure off? Do you don't mind it, or do you kind of feed off of the crowd a little bit?
I like to say I feed off the crowd, but I'm so young in my career that I've never really got to, even my past fights, I was kind of like sometimes I was a prelim or I was even before the TV card, so there wasn't that many people in the arena from the jump. Plus, when Miles went to fight for the Contender Series, it was just dead silent. You can hear a pin drop in there.
Mhm.
So I got to experience what it's like to just have this a complete silence and just, kind of tune into the moment at that time. But I do hope they bring the fans back. You love the MMA fans. They get the show going. So it's gonna be. It's not really any pressure for me. With my brother there, I feel full confident. No matter where I'm fighting, it's gonna be. I'm gonna perform at my best.
Well, you did mention that. It is interesting. I never thought about that. That with originally when family members with the Contender Series, it's just quiet. It's almost like golf a little bit,
Yeah.
which is different from most fight events. Most like UFC cards. I mean, it's crowd, it's deafening. Why do you think that is? Even when they had fans and friendly, it was just quiet.
That's a very good question. The Apex Center is kind of condensed. It just seemed it was new at the time, and I think they are just trying to find a new, they kind of, Dana White's watching, and it's such a pivotal moment for a lot of these fighters' careers, given that they train so hard and they finally get this opportunity to literally fight for their contract, and there's never been anything like that before. So I think they really wanted to make it kind of like that do or die scenario. They had a highlight video of my brother and his kids just before he went out. And I saw my brother almost shed a tear because it's like the emotion is so high. He's worked his whole life for this. And you're watching a highlight video of your the why you do this. And then they let you out there. It's dead silent. And it raises the stakes, but it's also like, this is the game we're in, like you got to be able to handle these kind of situations.
Well, going back, talking about your opponent, Luke Foltersack, he's been on a win streak. You've been on a 4-fight win streak. Your last fight coming back in March, right before everything shut down. He hasn't fought since April of last year. Do you feel that there's a little bit of advantage right there, that you've still been, out of both of you, the most active fighter?
Yeah, I would say there's a little bit of an advantage. I'm not going to overlook, his experience. His last opponent as well. Both of our last opponents didn't have the best record. Charlie Vann, sir, in an interview. Charlie Vann? Yes, sir.
My man. Hey, Coach Safe.
Yeah, that's the guy right there. And thanks for him, I was able to fight even during all this craziness just before it happened to take off. So I'm excited. I'm not overlooking Luke. I think it's going to be he's going to have a little bit of maybe some ring rust, being out of there for a year. I don't know how his training's going. I know he trains with Alliance over in Sacramento. But, yeah, I'm taking it for what it is.
Well, he seems to definitely have a long-rangey fighter. What are some things that you see that you have seen that you would like to kind of pick apart that you feel like you can expose going into this fight?
Yeah, judging from his last fight, he seems to not at all he doesn't feel comfortable on his feet. He's instantly going for the takedown. He wrestled in high school and instincts take over. I mean, I saw him shoot like a low single, which I've never seen. So I think my best bet is to keep it on the feet. And even if he does shoot, I feel like he exposes his head a little bit. I've been working with Damon Jackson in the mornings, and I mean, my head choke game is gotten up a lot because of him. I mean, they call him the leech for a reason. You give him your neck. You saw in his last fight.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So I've been working with that. So even if, it goes down there, I feel comfortable. But I'd like to keep it on the feet and see what he's like in those kind of waters. I also want to test his cardio a little bit. I feel like he gasses out just a little bit towards the end. So I'm going to push the pace on him and just kind of just, have fun in there.
Well, mention about your strike, and I remember it was the Aaron Webb fight. I mean, your repeated knee strikes, it almost reminded me of, bag drills on the bag with the knees, and you don't see that as often all the time. I remember, I believe it was Bisping Jorge Rivera, the repeated knee strikes against the cage. When I saw that in the Aaron Webb, how much of that do you work on all the time and implement that Muay Thai? Because that barrage of knee strikes was pretty vicious.
Yeah, thank you. So it's hard because it's hard to train knees in practice because obviously you don't want to injure your teammates.
Mm-hmm.
But, we could even go back to Anderson Silva, Rich Franklin.
Yeah.
I used to watch him growing up, and I loved the way he used his tie clinch. I love the way he just kind of picked the time to throw the knee shots, and they're just really effective. A lot of these fighters they're tough, man. It's hard to just, you can't be headhunting and with your fists all the time. So I'm just trying to get creative with ways of ending a fight in a knockout without, gassing myself out. And I feel like the tie clinch to knees is an effective way. I haven't really used my kicks as much in a fight, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, my knees are definitely my bread and butter, I feel like.
What do you think, just going back to the clinch, just breaking down that technique, where do you feel that some people might go wrong a little bit and kind of lose that positioning?
It's easy to kind of become dependent on it. So they'll hang on to it so long to where you can get caught with some nasty uppercuts. If you give them too much space and you're hanging on to that clinch, you could get caught with some short uppercuts. Daniel Cormier is really good at using it and just landing short elbows. Yeah. And that's a clinch on clinch battle. So, you're still in there. You can break off, you can throw elbows, but just not hanging on for dear life onto the clinch, just using it to move your opponent, set it up and time them, but also just being aware because shots could be coming from any angle when you're in there.
Well, do you feel with your record and with an impressive win, the LFA Featherweight title is currently vacated? I'm not sure if they've announced, who's up next, but do you think an impressive win definitely puts you in that conversation?
I would like to believe so. I'm always shooting to fight the best. And given my brother won the belt, I know that they also have a little scope on me too, whereas they see a lot of potential in me. I suffered a loss early in LFA. That's when afterwards I went on a 4-fight win streak. It kind of woke me up a little bit. But I'm one of those guys who has to take one fight at a time. I plan on having a spectacular performance, and whatever benefits or results happen afterwards, I'm open arms for. But I'm trying to be patient and just wait for my time.
We'll talk about your brother, and there's a lot of well-known brother duos in MMA. Of course, the Nogueiras, Diaz. Right now in the UFC, you have the Burns brother. Just talk about just growing up with Miles and just the competitiveness between you two, and kind of the advice that he gives you, and just that relationship right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Miles have always been had the competitive edge as well as my oldest brother too. We've always just been some competitive boys, but it's such a blessing, and just to have somebody give you guidance and who knows you almost more than you know yourself. Like growing up, we wrestled together. I would always watch him, and he was just such a dominant. He fights just like how he wrestled. He's dominant, he's explosive, and he's brutal. And it's just something I've always admired. And then bringing it into the ring, he's always giving me advice. He's always telling me what's missing, and also just grounding me. You can kind of fly high when you're in this game if you've had some success. And he makes sure that I stay level-headed and stay humble, and just remember the times where I wasn't always on the winner's side, and I need that reminding to keep me grounded and keep getting better.
Now, usually here in Dallas, when you're fighting for LFA, of course, your family comes and you have a big support group. So with this fight, I know you can't have, there's no fans, but is there going to be a place where a watch party, a little gathering where your family, and is a lot more coming from your hometown?
Yeah, absolutely. So my oldest brother lives in Wichita, and he made an arrangement to have a little fight party there. So he's going to have his wife, who's my sister-in-law, my sister, my long-term friends from back when I lived over there. My girlfriend's going to drive down with my dad, and they're going to have a little fight party over at his house. And I love that, man. It's so exciting, and hopefully my aunt and my grandma, they live in the community as well. Obviously COVID makes people a little bit skeptical with the gatherings and
Yeah.
stuff, but they're gonna have a little get together and watch me on the big screen, and it's gonna be a dream.
Well, it's got to be exciting too to be on Fight Pass, UFC Fight Pass, just because I mean, obviously being part of the UFC network right there, and all the great promotions that get to be showcased. So, just talk about that, getting that your fight is on Fight Pass.
Yeah, it's surreal. I had my last, not my last fight, but the fight before that, I fought Mike Murphy, and that was on Fight Pass as well. And it's such a good tool because then I can go back, I can watch it anytime I want. I can pick apart what I did right in the fight, what I did wrong in the fight. And then also you have to thank the big boss. Dana's watching everything. It's
Yeah.
his company. And even if you think you're unnoticed or your significance is not very big, people are always watching, man. And you never know when your video is going to be popped up and interest is going to be spurred in you. So I just really, I want to take full advantage of that and just go out there and put on the best performance I possibly can. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for the position I'm in.
There's been a lot of great fights, since
Yeah,
LFA came back. A lot of exciting fights. Was there a moment since I went back, going back to that March fight, and then everything started shutting down? Was there a little bit of a worry that, hey, will I get even a chance to fight again this year?
absolutely. There's a big worry. There's some doubts. There was, just it's challenging to stay ready for something that seems so uncertain. But I have such a great team and a great infrastructure here at Fortis, a great coach who is just so good at what he does and just reminds us that any day, any given day, that our time could be coming. So I just kind of feed off of the energy here, and I stayed focused, and gyms were closed. I ran outside. I hung out with my brother. He put some mats in the garage. We stayed active. We stayed we stayed persistent. And usually when you do that, good things happen. Coach let me know, hey, you're gonna be on this card, and it was just like, wow. Like I was actually kind of worried, like, hey, maybe I'll just have one fight in a year, and I'll take it for that. Some people don't have any fights in a year, but I get to come back to my hometown, and it couldn't have worked out better.
Well, and speaking of Coach Safe, which we just saw, just talk
Yeah.
about just the boost and confidence in this team. I mean, already when you even turn into the UFC and the commentary, they're talking about Fortis MMA. Fortis has been ranked high as a fight camp, and I mean, you guys have been staying busy and getting fights. So just talk about this team's morale right now going into the rest of 2020.
Yeah. Oh, the morale it's powerful. We're always moving forward, and I think what really is incredible about it is the fact that with everything going on, we kind of adapt to the times. We're not delusional, so we know these times are crazy. We know stuff's unexpected. We know short notice fights are going to come, and our coach is just great at reminding us that of the times we're in. And I think that's helpful because people really need to learn, like, there's going to be adversity, and better it just builds our character. He's really kind of grooming us for life in a way, and I've just been a student to him, to my teammates. I'm kind of just the baby of the team, and
That is your
I
nickname.
I soak it in. I soak it in.
Well, and I think too right now, just the importance is, just the activity, staying active, and just it is great that LFA is back and
Yep.
consistently putting on cards. And good news, I don't know if you saw as of yesterday, it looks like with the Texas Commission that events in Texas. Fight cards in Texas can come back in small scale, but that is a huge, that's a big victory in itself. So, LFA could potentially be back here in DFW.
Yeah, I saw that actually. I was very excited. I saw that they said that they were thinking about returning back to Texas, and I love that, man. I love that. Staying active is exactly what I need. Exactly what helps me the most. To know that they're gonna maybe even have a quick turnaround and I could get back on would be an absolute dream. I'm just like I said, taking in a fight at a time, and I stay training. I stay ready. So if they come back to Texas, whenever, I would love to be back on there.
And it looks like possible fans can be there, small percentage. I mean, we see it with Dallas Cowboys right now, 25% capacity. So, just as competing, just having a little bit helps, there in the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we also, I mean, it goes down to just people want to be there. People don't want to kind of just have this bubble and kind of live in fear. People want to get out there. Obviously, we have to respect laws and regulations, and what's going on is very traumatic. But the only way through is forward. So moving forward, I think they're finding new ways to implement it. I heard LFA has a new scoring programs as well. So it just forces us to get more creative and get better with some more broader ideas to make it work.
Well, going back to your hometown, there's a restaurant that's been around for a long time there, the Bread Basket. Tell me about the breakfast there. Those cinnamon rolls look good.
Oh man, the Bread Basket. I believe my brother actually used to work there a long time ago as a busser. So, oh man.
How many post-victory wrestling matches and stuff did you guys go over there?
Oh, too many to count, Charlie. Too many to count.
So, is it safe to? Are you going to get a chance to like stay a little bit after, or are you coming straight back? Or are you going to enjoy yourself a little bit?
Yeah. So after the fight, I think we're going to go to my brother's again. He's having a little after fight party, so we'll touch down there. My nephew's birthday is actually the same day as my fight. They talked about celebrating it that day after on Saturday. LFA has a flight for me Saturday morning, so I think it might be a quick turnaround. But my dad's driving, so I might ride back with him and my girlfriend. Who knows? Everything is kind of like in the air right now, and it's exciting that way too. I don't really know what to expect, but I don't want to be mad about a quick turnaround. My brother's fighting 2 weeks after I fight, so we got to get right back to work after that. So I have a lot of stuff to look forward to, and I'm very, very, very blessed.
Well, and finally, during this time, when you're not training, and of course during quarantine, what have you been binge watching? What have you been? I know you're a music guy. What have you been listening to? What's on your playlist right now?
On my playlist right now, when it comes to this close to a fight, I listen to, after practice, a playlist called the Peaceful Piano. Where it's literally just a piano orchestra. Peaceful piano. I know it's outside of my normal hip hop.
No, it sounds relaxing. It sounds kind of chill.
Yeah, I also mentioned the movie soundtrack. There's a guy named Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer is awesome.
Christopher Nolan movie soundtrack. He's good, man. He's a good dude, and I'll listen to some of his stuff, and that kind of calms me down. A lot of my free time was spent working. I'm still had to make some money, so I work over at Stir and Addison as a server.
Yeah,
and being in service to people is kind of opens up my heart. Keep in mind not from thinking about the weight cut too much. I know I'm surrounded by food. It's a restaurant, but it builds discipline. Jeff Neal was a server at Moxie's, so he kind of inspired me to kind of go that path and build a little challenge.
Well, actually, you were talking about like soundtrack. There's a band out of Austin called Explosions in the Sky. They're all instrumental. They've been on Friday. They did the intro to Friday Night Lights, the TV show, Lone Survivor soundtrack. So if you're looking for a good like soundtrack music, I always recommend that band.
What's it called again?
Explosions in the Sky. So their song Hand in Mine was the intro to the Friday Night Lights TV series.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Okay.
do a bunch of
Explosions in the
movies.
Sky.
Lone Survivor, they did the soundtrack for. So if you're looking for good soundtrack music, I always recommend them. And they're out of Austin, so it's kind of good to support that Texas music scene. I know
Absolutely.
your brother's into music. I know your older brother is a rapper, correct?
Yeah, he's an artist. He's got him and his longtime friend Collins McDonald, who goes by Mac Marley, and they have a group named 29192. And it's surreal because Miles will put his playlist on the Fortis iPad while we're practicing, and I'll be hearing my brother in the speakers while we're training, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I'm training with my brother while listening to my other brother on the speaker.
But hey, that's how it works. That's how you introduce people to music, whether it's you pop it on in the gym, whether it's in a movie trailer, something. It's like, hey, why don't you check out this artist? And that's got to be awesome for him. Have you walked out
Oh
to his
yeah.
music yet? Have you had a chance to?
This is actually the first time they are letting us pick our walkout song, and I am so pumped. I always thought like the only time I'm going to be able to pick a walkout song is when I'm in the UFC, so I have to pay my dues before I get that privilege. And LFA just, I guess, released it. Hey, you guys can have a choice of your walkout song. So I had to go with Baby, with Lil Baby and the Baby.
Oh
Because,
yeah, it's
just too
fitting.
fitting.
It goes with
But
the nickname.
it goes with the nickname, And but I do have a few songs of my brothers that I would like to walk out to. Miles walked out to his song in Houston, and it was surreal, man. It was really powerful. So I was like, that's some really cool stuff right there. I'm a huge music fanatic. It doesn't matter what category, I listen to Tom Petty, I listen to Nirvana, I listen to 3 Days Grace, I listen to Lil Wayne. So I love you. I could talk to music.
It's good to have
I
a
could talk about
variety.
music for days.
It's good to have a variety in
Absolutely.
taste because everybody has a mood, and like one day you're like, I feel, yeah, like you said, it's a 3 Days Grace, it's a Tom Petty, but then you're gonna switch to hip hop. I throw in some jazz sometimes. You're talking about chilled piano
There you
music,
go.
but jazz is one of those genres that will live on and can be morphed and mixed into a bunch of stuff. Well,
And that
Elijah,
says a lot about you too. Intelligence. That says a lot of intelligence. There's a lot of little key notes that people who listen to jazz can pick up. It's using more parts of their brain. So,
well, I think it gives you if you can appreciate jazz, it just opens your mind to everything. Are you a Run the Jewels fan at all? You like Run the Jewels, Killer Mike?
I actually haven't heard any of that artist.
So the newest album, RTJ4, sorry, and there's a track on there where they do infuse jazz, and which was awesome. When you hear that saxophone go, you're like, that is so cool, and that's what is awesome about jazz. If you can develop that appreciation, and especially for musicians, producers, you can infuse it in so much. I mean, it's kind of the basis for a lot of things. Same with folk music. Folk music, when you look into rock and even with country and that, I mean, there's somewhere you can place it. It's never going to get stale. I guess that's my thing.
Yeah. I like that. I respect it a lot too. It's like a big stir pot of sounds and nuances.
Well, Elijah, I want to thank you for your time. Best of luck next week.
Sure.
There at LFA. Where can people find you?
Yeah, Baby Johns MMA on Twitter and Baby Johns 145 on Instagram is where find me. And the pleasure was mine, Charlie. Thanks so much for having me on here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, best of luck, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we all look forward to seeing you back in action.
Thank you, sir.